Investigation tonight. The push for new gun control laws came in response to the murder of 20 children in Connecticut.
But to the family of one local shooting victim, the president's proposals are very personal. Here's Steve Chamraz.
Carol and Mike, the family of Zena Daniel does not agree with everything the president wants to do here, but they do think one part just makes sense. It would close the loophole that allowed her killer to easily buy a gun, no questions asked.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
It is a perfectly legal transaction. Two people, one with cash, one with a gun. And no one ever has to know about it.
I would say if somebody needs a gun right now, I'd say they're up to no good.
Unless the one with the cash is planning the unthinkable.
7 people have been shot, 3 people are dead.
Then everyone knows. The man responsible for all the chaos and all the deaths today is dead himself. Radcliffe Houghton used this hole in the law to get his hands on a gun after a judge ruled him such a danger to his wife, he couldn't have one.
He told me if I was to divorce him, it was till death do us part.
When it was over, 4 people were dead, 3 were hurt, and lawmakers promised action.
This was totally predictable.
Predictable, but was it preventable? Could a change in this law have saved a life?
I don't believe it would have stopped him at all.
To the family of Zena Daniel, there is no question.
I don't see a big deal about waiting the 3-day period.
Elvin Daniel says this as a member of the NRA who takes his family out shooting for fun. But Daniel lost his sister to gun violence, so on this point, it just makes sense.
There's no reason why anybody couldn't wait a 3-day period.
That 3-day waiting period for firearm purchases was designed to prevent crimes of passion, also to allow licensed gun dealers time to run a background check on the buyer. Here now is the loophole. Guns can change hands for cash between 2 private parties with no record of the transaction and no background check required. A loophole Radcliffe Houghton exploited in the days before his deadly rampage.
The government has a compelling interest to regulate this.
Congresswoman Gwen Moore supports closing the private sales loophole and has an ally on this point in Elvin Daniel. But other supporters of gun rights are not as willing to bend on universal background checks.
It's not going to stop a suicidal maniac from committing his crime.
Nick Clark is president of Wisconsin Carry, an advocate for the most lenient gun laws possible. He believes universal background checks would do more to hurt the rights of responsible gun owners than stop killers like Radcliffe Houghton.
He could have just as easily taken a baseball bat and walked up behind a police officer and hit him over the head and taken his gun. I mean, if you're willing to murder somebody, it would be easy to get your hands on a gun, very easy.
Just not as easily as he got his gun. It happened through the website armslist.com. Armslist is a matchmaking site for those looking to buy and sell guns, and if buyer and seller are close enough to meet in person, they can seal the deal.
The only guy carrying one.
As this YouTube video shows, undercover agents in New York bought handguns and rifles from private sellers using Armslist, despite throwing up red flags.
All right, no background checks, that's good because I probably couldn't pass one of those things.
Congresswoman Moore says Houghton showed similar warning signs when he used Armslist.
I'm an eager buyer. I need it ASAP. I'm highly motivated. The content of this email, I think, was very telling.
So what does Armslist have to say for itself? The I-Team made repeated attempts to get answers from the company and never heard back.
All we need to do is close the loopholes that we got, and one of them is buying on the internet.
It makes sense to Elvin Daniel, but the gun rights lobby is going to fight him on this.
If he couldn't have bought the gun the way he did, he would have just bought it off the street. There's no doubt in my mind.
Arguing a man determined to kill with a gun will find a gun, no matter what laws are in place. Though Elvin Daniel remains convinced universal background checks will save lives.
Zena may be here with us this day. Her daughters may have their mothers. My parents may have their daughters still.
Now, a number of recent polls show a majority of Americans support closing this loophole. Even Republican Congressman Paul Ryan said he is in favor of closing loopholes if it does not infringe on the Second Amendment. Mike?
All right, thank you, Steve. And this is just one of the stories you've asked the I-Team to investigate. If you see or hear something that just doesn't seem right, tell us about it. Go to tmj4.com/I-Team or find us on Facebook or Twitter. And if you ask, we'll investigate.